Let me see. There we go. Because it shows our names.
Yeah.
All right, we live now, so I don't know if anybody watching it.
All right.
Banner.
We'll get some people on here.
Yep. How to wholesale in Detroit. I gotta change the topic over here.
All right.
And the D. And then I'll probably go to oh, there goes Slowpoke.
Yeah.
We started on time.
Yeah, you saw me calling you. I'm like, this nigga sleep.
This is a black TV show, right? We don't start on time.
we on time. This is a professional show.
We trying to be.
Yeah.
It's dark in here.
This is not professional. This is our time to be.
Still dark.
Hey, you two want us all to be professionals now, so we gotta be on time.
That ain't gonna happen with me. I'm professional if I need to, but that's it.
Low key though, me and my wife, we watch more YouTube channels and people on YouTube than we do TV. Like since the pandemic, like it seemed like so many people blew up on YouTube, and like you know how you used to watch the Cosby's every Thursday? Yeah. It's like certain people we'll just randomly, like we'll watch and then we just start getting hooked on them, like episodes of TV or something.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy.
That sounds about right.
So,
let me go live on the gram. They need to invent something to where I can go live across all social medias at the same time.
They probably do. We just haven't paid for it yet.
Right. But I know with this, I can go live on here and Facebook, but it don't go on Instagram too.
Oh, okay.
Like, I guess. Wholesaling in the D. So what you been up to, Marcus? I feel like I haven't seen you forever.
Oh my God. It's been a whirlwind of mostly good stuff. It's just been real focus. You know, I'm getting ready for the seminar in Orlando in June. And since we'll be gone an entire week, I need to make sure everything is airtight as much as possible.
I hear it.
Let me ask you this, because years ago I used to do like little investor workshops. Like, are y'all just constantly seeing just more people from and I always know that everybody from outside of Detroit is investing, but like it seemed like all the seminars and workshops are just out of towners. We can't get people here to buy into it.
Nope.
So, because when I first seen y'all was traveling, I was like, damn, y'all all over the map. But it's like we're just not really. I'm like, it's right in your backyard. At least buy one house or get the block club to buy.
That was really our slogan, is right in your backyard. We wanted more people that live in a city and born and raised to do it, but it's just they don't have an interest. And I'm not gonna say they do not have an interest. I'll take that back. I think I don't know. It's just a fear that they have of investing in their own.
That's Marcus. I already know it.
Yeah, I'm like, somebody's telling me.
Oh, go ahead.
Take all this stuff off. Oh my God.
No, you want me to finish what you were saying? Because I kind of know where you was going.
Yeah, go ahead. You finish.
Yeah, but Red's like, that's like, all right, when we had the first one in Detroit, that was what, 2019. I was so mad at Detroit because like we sold out and I don't think nobody there was from Detroit but us.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I'm like, y'all mad at me because I like when we first started doing the classes and stuff, people was cussing me out on the gram and shit. Like, that's fucked up. You from Detroit, you teaching other people how to invest. I'm like, where was you when we was doing free real estate Thursdays for 2 years? Where were you? Y'all won't come to none of the free stuff, and now y'all got something to say. I'm like, you've been in Detroit your whole life. Houses was $500 when the market crashed. Y'all want to buy them?
Yeah, it's crazy.
I don't get it.
I used to when we was doing all the REO, so the banks used to have us hire people to cut the grass every 2 weeks, right?
Yeah.
And we had to show before and after photos. So sometime it'll rain, the grass will overgrow a little bit, and the neighbors will call and complain. But usually it'd be like a block club. And I used to, and they'd say like, when y'all gonna cut the grass, or y'all not gonna put no tenants in there, y'all gonna sell it to a homeowner, right? I'm like, why don't y'all just buy the house? It's $5,000.
Man, right? 5,000.
It's 20 of y'all on the block club committee. Just put in 500 or something a piece, and you know what I'm saying, and buy the property. But
like my family did, they was a lot of people, myself included. I lost my condo. I knew people who was losing their places. I was like, stop paying your mortgage and buy the house across the street.
Yep. Yeah.
And it wasn't that they couldn't afford to do it. It just made sense. I'm underwater. I owe $150,000 on my mortgage. This bitch across the street going for $8,000. Just stop paying your mortgage, save that money up, and buy the one across the street. And a lot of people did that.
They did. But then my thing was, and you probably remember this too, Reg, back in the day, was we did a lot of short sales and sheriff deeds.
Yeah.
So that was one of the options that we gave people unsolicited. I'll say, like, listen, stop paying your mortgage, and then once they approach you, you know, see if you can work. We can work out a deal with them, and either do a short sale, or either wait till it goes to the sheriff's sale and see what it sells for, or just kind of save your money if you don't mind damaging your credit, which was going to get damaged anyway for most people.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, we would like to see. I definitely would like to see more homeowners, more people my age, younger. I would love to see 21, 22, because I bought my first house at 19. I was straight out of 1 year out of high school, $100,000 in the Marygrove area.
Wow. You was rich. You was a rich 19-year-old.
No, you wasn't. No, you didn't have to be rich. And back then, all you needed was a 560 minimum. 520, you was golden. That was like a 720 now. Okay, no income.
Oh my God.
No income, no assets at 620.
That's
crazy.
But I think a better opportunity.
You get cash back?
Yep. So really, I paid 80 for it because I got 20, but that's a long time ago. But I mean, this is the best time now. Like you could buy a decent house, or a nice house at $65,000-$70,000, and then your mortgage is $650, $700, $750.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, that's less than what people are charging. You're paying for rent right now.
Right.
Man, I did an estimate for a house the other day. Well, I tried to pull it up. It's 5 cars on the lawn. None of them belong to the nigga that owned the house. So then the neighbor started talking to me. I was like, "Oh, this block's in friendly." She was like, "Girl, come back around here around 2:00 when everybody get up." She was like, "It ain't this nice." I'm like, "Oh, it's one of them blocks. This mug is hot." It was on the east side. I think that's 4205. It was off Grass Street somewhere up in there. And the lady, she from out of town. So a couple years ago, she done bought houses in the 40, 50,000 and put 5,000 in there. And she thinks she about to do that now. I bust out laughing. I was like, "You're not doing that now." She like, "I'm just trying to, give a little lipstick rehab." I'm like, that's not happening no more.
Nah.
Right now, house you probably paying 40,000 for a regular bungalow that was 22,000 a couple years ago. Hell, 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Because if I sold Big Red Kirschville right now, I probably get 150 for it, and it's fully gutted.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get a lot of out of towners calling me, and they're looking for. I just want something for 10,000 or 20,000. Like those days over with. Even if it's 10 or 20,000, you got to put another 30 into it. So
I'm gonna say more than that now, because materials up, labor up, like contractors know they in demand now, so all the subs went up because all the materials went up, and then if you work for them, your price went up too, because it's more bad contracts than it is good. So it's like Balfour, I got that was a lick. I only got that for 7,300, but I really should have got that house for 25,000, even though it needed a full gut, to be honest.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But I'm just good at negotiating. I just be honest with people. Like, and I've told a lot of investors this too. I'm like, being from Detroit makes it different when you putting your offers in, because we gonna talk just like how they talk, and we gonna be straight up. It's not my fault you didn't pay the taxes. It's not my fault you didn't pay the water bill. It's not my fault all these liens is on here. So we gonna deduct all that from this total, and that's how we got to $7,200. Cause then I'm gonna go to the city, get on the tax payment plan till I sell it, or wait till I sell it and pay the taxes. The water bill, I think I gotta pay that.
Right.
So I can get the water turned on so we can test it.
Yeah.
Well, at least turned on legally. So
Yeah. Cause them contractors. Some of them contractors kill me with them straight pipes. I'll be like, man.
That's only a temporary thing.
Well,
I just need water to flow through the house, make sure there ain't no leaks.
Yeah. Well, the issue I have with it is when they do it. So like the investor is out of state or out of the country, and the contractor doing the work, but they don't tell none of the realtors. So when it goes on the market and we go to sell it, all of a sudden it's there. And then you know how it is with ordering final water reads and all of that. Because some realtors don't know, and they'll order the final water read, and the city is like, hey, it's no meat. You know, we can't read the meter. So they're assuming it's an older meter. So they send somebody out. They see that straight pipe. They like, oh,
$500.
Yeah, we bought.
I don't do that. I don't do that. I just know some plumbers who still got their old water key from when they did work for the city.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna call them though. Yeah, because I got to before plumbing start in 2 weeks. So just to let them know that I'm about to pay, and then by the time they done setting up the meter, then I should have an appointment. So like the day the plumbing start, then I set my appointment because I know they book like 2-3 weeks out.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I guess it's cool to test everything, but just some guys just be leaving it on there and don't nobody know. So it just be like, you come out the water or something, you like, oh man.
No, I ain't that bad, but I will fill up a bucket of water and pour it down the thing because I need to see what's leaking before I start closing my walls. Yeah. Now I've done that. I sure will give me a little 2-liter pop bottle, pour right on down.
Yeah.
We real back.
What's today's topic? Wholesaling?
Yeah, wholesaling. That's kind of what we talking about. Wholesaling, real estate, Detroit.
It is.
Well, wholesaling, like I'm still wholesaling, but not like I was because I've been focusing more like on the construction. And then the deals I've been finding, I've been keeping them because I've been getting them at like really good prices. So it's like, I think I'm going to end up just really doing fix and flips. Because I'm really tired of people. I really am. I'm tired of people talking to me stupid. Like, I cuss them out. The shit don't work no more. So, like, I hired the answering service. Like, these been the greatest 3 weeks ever. Like, my phone don't ring now as much because they answering it. And then when they take the message, I just filter through the message. Like, okay, call them back. Don't call them back. And that be that.
Right.
So, what y'all been noticing?
Some of everything. I'm starting to see more wholesalers call on my listings. Like I had one listing over on Roseline. It was crazy because a lot of wholesalers, they got like it'll be like ABC real estate investments, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm not really thinking that this is a wholesaler versus a realtor because the conversation was like, hey, how can I show this property? What's the lot box code? That type of thing. But I'm looking, the house was like 35 on the MLS, and the buyer brought it. And I'm like, why didn't he just call a realtor? You know what I'm saying? But I don't know what relationship they had. But I get quite a few calls from wholesalers now on my listings, the lower end stuff. And they're just trying to, or they'll ask you once you get an offer accepted, they want you to pull it off the MLS.
Yeah.
They're going to assign it to somebody else at a higher price. So a lot of times when that happens, it's somebody that's really not doing any research. They just putting some money out there and they just want a deal. But I mean, I don't knock nobody's hustle. I just want to get my client's house. So
that's how I be. I'm like, I'm not greedy, but I done lost a lot of deals because the other wholesaler that that got the seller or the buyer or vice versa, they greedy. And people be thinking like Detroit is like other markets. You're not going to get $50,000 on a wholesale deal here.
Right.
Yeah. It's just not going to happen. Maybe in a couple of years, but today that ain't going to happen. And I think people be getting greedy. Like me, I take my little 2,000-3,000 going about my day next. Like, right. I don't have to get a certain number. Like, I'm not greedy. And I think that mess up a lot of wholesalers too because they get greedy.
Mine is the daisy chains.
Oh my God, that too.
Yeah.
Those. And you know what, Rich? It's crazy because I see a lot of these houses already, and I've seen a lot of them, and they've been flipped and handled so many times, and I just laugh every time I get some kind of group on Facebook or anywhere, and it's just like, I got this house available. I'm like they still trying to sell that house, like
Yeah.
Or like that apartment building on
oh, Fullerton.
yeah, that mother been getting sold for about good 4-5 years.
Yeah.
I'm
It'd
like,
be
"Dang,
funny
I got it
because I get a lot of absentee investor leads, and they come to me to sell the property, and then they wonder why I can't sell it for what they paid for it. And I'm like, you just brought it wrong. Like, you overpaid for it because somebody sold you on the idea that it was a good deal.
Absolutely.
Because if you not, so what I realized is some investors, they just want to put their money out. They don't want to do any of the legwork or research, and they'll trust somebody else to do it for them. But then you got some investors that's a little bit more diligent, and they'll say, okay, these numbers don't make sense.
Yeah.
The ones that's lazy, they come back, they'll want to list it with a realtor. We like, these numbers don't work. So they end up stuck, or they're frustrated because they can't get their money back out of the deal. Eventually they'll find somebody else to sell it to. But yeah,
that's stupid like they was.
Yeah, it's usually,
Yeah.
and you know the sad part about it is, it's usually one of their partners, like friend, a family member, like they sell them on it and they get it transferred over to them for whatever the price is. Usually it's either the same amount or even more, and then they end up doing the same thing.
Yep.
That's sad.
Yeah.
Okay, the other thing I don't like about wholesalers is it's an echo. Is that my side?
It's gotta be.
Yeah, because I'm not hearing the echo.
Probably because I'm live on both these pages.
Yep,
So.
that's what it is.
All right, hold on. Instagram, I got to go. Y'all don't have to see YouTube. Share. All right, so one thing I don't like about wholesalers, the ones who don't know jack shit about construction, and they'll send it over and be like, the rehab is 10,000, and I'm like,
oh yeah.
How? I'm like, who in there painting? Paint alone, and people be forgetting that painting and drywall is by the square foot. So if a room is 10 by 10, that's 100 square feet of wall space. Okay, right? No, that's actually just the ceiling, right? Then you got the wall. A wall in Detroit is typically 8.5, maybe 9 feet. Boston Edison, them shits got 10, 11 foot damn ceiling, right? So that's 10 feet long by 8. That's 80 times 4. So that whole room is the 80 times 4, which is 320 plus the 100. You got 4. That's one room, and people don't be understanding that. I'm like, do you know that a paint bucket has how much square feet is this going to cover for a fucking reason, right? So you'll know how many buckets of paint to buy for your
You sound too smart. Be quiet. That's not how you paint a room. You get a bucket of paint and a roller, and you get to go. That's it. Let it roll down a little bit and dry. You paint everything white. The ceiling, the walls, the trim, the doors, the dog, everything is in the way. It gets painted white.
The window.
The window.
Yeah. The door.
That's crazy. It's only $500 to get that room painted and that house painted.
Hey, you know what though? Like, so I'll see somebody, they have a property, and they'll be like, yeah, it's a property, and then rehab costs $20,000, ARV $190.
Yeah,
and it'll be in the area. So here's one of the things I noticed, and again, I don't knock nobody's hustle, but I warn my investors on what to look for. So like, I noticed some people are hustling the zip codes, because like some zip codes, like for example, 48203, which covers Highland Park, but it's also Palmer Woods, but it's also 7 Mile and Woodward, right?
Yep.
So if you go across Woodward, like Greendale and them streets just south of Hollywood, you got some big houses. But I seen some ads where they'd be like, oh, this house is worth $350. And I'm like, no, it's not. They using Palmer Woods comps. So I'm like, somebody on the outside looking in, they're like, oh yeah, they're believing that. But yeah, it's crazy.
The thing
That's the
about
whole
it,
purpose of us telling people to come here. That's why you got to come to Detroit, like, because it's block by block, and that's like the perfect example.
Or they never take the time out to just contact someone with a license. Typically, you would trust that somebody with a license would tell you at least half the truth, but or not all of it. But we don't get contact until after the fact, to after the money's been wired, to after the work hasn't been done, to after all of it, you know, whatever happens. And now it's like, okay, let me contact somebody, a professional, somebody in the real estate world, construction world that's licensed. And it's like, then when they get to us, they're like, okay, I don't want to pay this. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing this.
Yeah.
And you're like, so what is it left for me to do?
Right.
Tell you to get off my phone. Like this lady sent me some pictures of her house out in Pontiac or somewhere. She put a homeowners permit, first red flag. Whoever she paid did the frame and did it wrong. Hurricane clips, all the clips in the wrong damn place. We don't even get hurricanes. Why you putting up hurricane clips? Even though you can, because it's stronger, but it's just not like it's required. So then whoever her electrician was, this male or female, done went all up and through the damn joint. So now they weak. So at any moment, structure about to fall. And she was like, well, how much would you charge? Like, I'm not coming to take over that at all. Because the first thing we're going to do is remove your permit and put mine. All your subs that you hired, them niggas is fired today. Because if I take over anybody's job, I'm going, whatever you pay, you about to really pay. Because it sounds like most of that shit had to come down.
Yeah.
Much as wood cost, you can't afford to be tearing down no damn framer.
Right.
And like, I was walking through Balfour today, marking out the framing for the framers, and I was like, all these old studs that's been up here 100 years, them bitches about to go right over there. We just gonna relocate them.
That's funny.
But I'm like, duh. And then with homeowners permit, it's okay, but you gotta know who you hiring. Like you put a home, that means you're responsible as the homeowner. So if they run off with the money, you can't really sue them because that's your damn fault.
Yeah.
So I don't be getting it, but that's y'all cousins.
Especially if you plan on selling the home anytime soon, because like all of that comes back. It seemed harmless at the front end, but Absolutely. On the back end, it always come back to bite you. Like I tell people, don't even try to really negotiate with the contractors. Just get two or three bids and see where it's at. Because once you get to like the second or third bid, that's just the price. You know, that's like just the cost of what it costs to get this property together.
I agree.
Well, it depends on who you calling. Because if you calling somebody, then you call me, I'm probably gonna be double. Because all my subs is top subs. They journeyman, electrician, plumber, stuff like that. They gonna text.
Well, all my contractors that I refer out are like you, right? So they professional, they on time, they charge for bids. You know what I'm saying? They come out at a certain time to do the bids. They're not taking on more work than they can handle, and they can handle everything, right? So I get people that are call, and once they start asking me about contractors' pricing and is your contractor reasonable, I start saying I don't think this is going to be good for you. Yep. It's not going to turn out.
Somebody asked me, like, is there any way we can get the price down? I was like, one, whoever did your roof did a piss poor job. So now all them faces that up got to come down. Because this was going to happen. If I put up new gutters and downspouts to some rotted ass faces, them shits is going to fall off. And then you're going to get mad at me. So either I'm replacing all this, or you can call them niggas that did this shoddy roof back to finish the job. And then they was like, well, are there any discounts? I'm like, no, I'm not Walmart.
Right. Yeah.
Sorry.
Well, my thing was, you know, I started trying to do, that was me back in the day, as far as not asking for discounts, but trying to find the best solution. But Reg, I'm kind of like that now too. Like once you start talking about discounts and back page workers and stuff like that, I'm like, I can't do it. I've in the past been in too many situations where these owners have hired people who are day laborers, and they trying to have me keep track of them as their project manager and or property manager. And I'm like, listen, if you're not using my people, then I can't do anything with you.
Right.
Sorry for you.
Yeah. So find somebody who can.
I feel sorry though. I just bust out laughing because it's so funny to me. Like, because I think they think that we be lying.
Right.
And then it's like once they get fucked over, it's like, oh, I guess they telling the truth. Yeah, you done lost thousands of dollars. Like,
Well, some people just, again, they believe that us in these industries that, like we're looking for top dollar and we're going, we're overcharging, and everybody has that cousin, friend, and other investor that told him I didn't pay nowhere near that, and look at the stuff that I got done, which usually is a lie.
Right.
Usually is that friend paid probably 3 times as much, but trying to make it seem like they got it like that. They didn't pay that. I've never paid $20,000 for rehab. I only paid $7,000. And then it's like, well, where's your guy?
Or the opposite of that is the person to say I didn't pay for this, that, and the other, and I got all this, but what is all this? Your level of high quality and my level of high quality ain't the same. Because I done been on friends and family's house who done paid all this money. I'm like, y'all pay for this? These walls look like that? That tile and that grout look like that? That shit don't even match.
Right.
Like it's just, and then that's a difference too. Like I care about quality. I care about the end product. Like I told somebody today, as a GC, a true GC, well, I can't speak on others, but me, Balfour in my mind is already done. Y'all already done sold that bitch. Homeowner done moved in with their little dog and 2.2 kids. That's where I'm at. And I got to go from there and work backwards. Because you have to foresee, whatever's coming up. Because I done learned enough over the years. I done got to the end. God damn, I got to open this wall back up. I got to do this and I got to do that. I got to cut through this. I got to cut through that. So now I'm like, okay, Asia, you already living here and done moved in. Work from there and work backwards, and that's what really helped me. And I think a little other contractors need to see that too. Like, yeah, right now it's all studded up, but you got to really see like 20 steps ahead. Like I'm already at final inspection in my head.
Yeah, even from like a liability standpoint. So like, if it's your personal property that you buying to flip, you got to think about like you selling this product to somebody, this house to somebody, as a licensed contractor or a licensed realtor. You putting it back on the market. So hell no, I'm not pulling the homeowner's permit. You know what I'm saying? On anything. I want as much liability on the contractor for the work that was performed as possible. I want to hold them accountable for getting me the C of O and things like that. So a lot of times people cutting corners, you may save a few dollars, but if something go wrong, it's gonna cost you way more than that. And so yep, and I don't want
that's
the extra
for like I'm pulling all my permits. Like I'm gonna get the CO, all that. Because when Marcus put this out there at 225, this is why I'm getting 225. Because I got permits showing that all this was done legally. Yep. I got the CO. All you got to do is move in. So if you want to rent it or whatever you want to do, Airbnb it, it's good to go.
Yep. Absolutely.
Oh, so we got a question. When using comps in Detroit, shouldn't one not go past a half a mile or a mile at the most?
The mile is the most. You want to kind of stay close to 0.5 miles as possible, especially in Detroit, but you can go up to a mile.
Yeah, you want to make sure the market area is similar, so the neighborhoods are similar, because you can go a half mile out and be in a completely different neighborhood, right, with different price points. So you want to make sure it's a similar market. Some appraisers will go further out, and then you also got to factor in the timeline. So if you got comps that's over 6 months old, depending on what you're using the comps for, you may not want to utilize those comps, because the market start changing so rapid that what happened 9 months ago don't matter. We're in a different market already.
Yeah, because I don't think last summer the numbers here was like how it is now.
No,
they were increasing. It's just the days on the market has changed. It's shorter. I'm telling people pay more attention to pending sales too, not just solds, and look at your active listings to see how quick they're selling or see how quick they go pending. So if they go pending 1 day, 2 days, eventually you will be able to see too in the comments if it says multiple offers. and that type of thing, it's likely it's going to close higher than the list price. So you got to start projecting forward when you're looking at your comps.
Mm-hmm.
How long y'all think the number is gonna be like it is here? Like the rest of the year or just the summer? Because I'm asking for myself because Balfour probably ain't gonna be done until probably August, the way it's going.
I'm actually glad you brought that up because, like, a lot of times when people are doing rehab projects for fix and flip, like, I don't like projects that take over 90 days because I just know from experience, once you get past 3 to 4 months, a market can go soft on you in the middle of your project.
Right.
So I think right now you're good because we're into the summer months. Interest rates low, unemployment, hasn't had any huge effect on us, and it's still low inventory. So I think you'll be good. The market is going to hold steady.
Yeah, and on the plus side, I don't owe nobody other than American Express and Chase.
Right.
So like that's good. Like I ain't really got no debt for real. Like I didn't borrow from nobody, so I ain't really got the pressure. Like I gotta hurry up and get done. But
right.
I'm not at the point where I'm tired of going over it. But once that happened, I'm gonna be like, hey, I'm tired of coming over here because that's how I was in the park. Once I got to that point, I'm sick of pulling up on this damn driveway. It's time to get from over here. And that's one thing I don't understand how some contractors like being in the house all that time. Like you ain't tired of coming over here. Yeah. Like you ain't tired of buying materials for the house. I'm tired of putting in this PO number at Home Depot. Aren't you? Like, don't you want to get paid? Like that's the part I don't get. Cause that last payment be 30%. That's my money at this point. I done paid everybody. Like, all right, niggas, need y'all to round this up so I can get paid. Y'all been paid. Your check done cleared. I need mine to clear. I need to get paid.
Well, what I can say about wholesaling, that it is fun, it is exciting, and due to the fact that we have mentioned a lot of things that was negative about it, the positive part about it is that you can find some deals that actually make sense and everybody gets paid and win. But you just have to make sure that you do your homework. That's about it.
So I'm gonna say people need to stop buying off emotions. Because some people are like, oh, this is my first deal. I got to hurry up and do a deal. It took me, 8 months to do my first deal. So, I mean, everybody's different. Everybody learning curve is different. Finding the right deal. And you can kind of tell new wholesalers in the city now because they just be putting out the shit of the shit. Nobody's buying that.
That's because that same house has been out here for the last 2 years.
I'm like, oh, you got it now? What you get it for?
It be the same pictures too. I'm like, y'all still got the same pictures?
And this is the part that kills me, right? Who is the seller that keeps going under contract with 4 or 5 different over a year and a half, right? Yeah. Because I tell them a price as a realtor or my investor price, and they like, nah. And then they'll go with a wholesaler, and it's like, all right, well,
and have it held up at what 45 to 60 days?
Yeah,
at least.
Yep.
At least. I'm like, ain't you tired of this? You might as well just get them the deed, tell them to give you $1,000 so you can move.
Yep. So I get so what I'm noticing too I will say this about wholesalers. Wholesalers compared to realtors, wholesalers hustle way harder than most realtors I know.
They do.
As far as like the good ones that really take it serious, they out hustle realtors like 10 to 1. I tell people that all the time. The part that I think a lot of wholesalers are missing, not the most experienced ones, but some of the wholesalers that's just getting their foot in the game, a lot of them are missing the business side of it. Like when I ask a wholesaler, how much did you spend on marketing? How many contacts do you go through before you actually get your first deal? What's your database like? What's your retargeting plan like? How much are you putting aside for taxes? This past week, you talked to some of them because if you making 10 grand assignment fee on each deal or 5 grand or 10 grand, and all of a sudden you made 100,000 this year, what are you writing off? You know what I'm saying? If you're not tracking your expenses, whether you did bandit signs or you did social media marketing, you need to track those expenses. And I think a lot of wholesalers are not being taught that. They're just taught to go get the money, right?
Yeah.
And then it's the with wholesalers and investors, they get the fear of missing out, right? So I got to do this deal. I got to do this deal. Well, you're getting a seller under contract that you're not going to have a buyer for because the numbers don't work. You just anxious to get started, right?
Yeah.
And you hoping you find you a sucker buyer that'll buy it. And
they out there.
Yeah, they out there. But what it's going to cost you to find that person, and what's your reputation going to be. So as realtors, and Marcus know this from managing properties, the more satisfied the investor is, the more they come back to you for repeat business. So
and they'll tell you to your friends, to their friends.
Yep. And the more, like, I brought some properties from wholesalers. They had good deals. The numbers made sense. And I'm always calling, like, what else you got? Right. But if somebody's just trying to make a killing on me on the first deal and it ain't no room in the deal, that's not the person I'm calling back. So I think a lot of times, a lot of wholesalers need to understand that, building that real database of people that you made happy so that they keep coming back to you. Like you said, just keep referring their friends as well.
Because what I know is a lot of people I get wholesaling and on the rehab side, they be the test dummy for their crew. So if they should go right, then the rest of the crew gonna come and they gonna start fixing that. That's always what happened to me. So I do good by them. They get a good deal from me. I rehab it. They flip it, rent it out. Markets get a tenant, whatever. But then what always happen after they do 2 or 3 with me, then they start, I'm gonna go find somebody else. Then they get fucked, and then they want to come back to me and market. And I'm like, no, we just like a relationship. You've been divorced, gone about your day.
That's funny.
All right, we got a question. Can someone explain why the judge awarded Nicole Curtis title? Oh, she did get it. So she won that East Grand. That's over here, 451 East Grand Boulevard.
Yeah.
So do y'all know about that? I didn't know she won. I thought she was gonna lose.
I'm gonna say something real. I'm gonna keep it simple because Emma, when she see that, she gonna kill me. I speculate it's the race to record, because from what they're saying is that she recorded her deed before the land bank did, but I don't know.
Because I thought she was SOL. I'm like, how you buy something and then do your damn research, all the damn work you've been doing? But that's another thing. People be thinking they can invest in Detroit. Just because somebody say they own the house don't mean they own it. There's a lot of fraud going on in the city too.
Oh yeah, the quick claim deeds is ridiculous. And then I think a lot of people don't understand. Like, even when you do a quick claim deed, I see people sign a quick claim deed from an LLC. But who's to say the person that signed the deed on behalf of the LLC was authorized to sign it?
Correct.
So if all three of us had ARO investment group, and then I took our property and just signed it over to somebody, y'all might be pissed off, right? But this person would be like, oh, I brought it, Reggie signed it, he's part of the company. No, that's not the case, because Marcus and Asia didn't agree to sell it.
Correct.
So I'm seeing it all over the board, but it's like a lot of people from the outside, they coming in and they're just buying anything. And I'm like, no, you got to at least do a title search.
Here's something even better. They're giving them warranty deeds.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, several people say, I got a warranty deed. I'm like, well, where's your title insurance and what title company did you close with? We didn't close with a title company. I don't know title insurance. Okay. I was like, so essentially you got a quick claim deed with a warranty deed title on it.
Oh, that sounds like I passed all my inspections, but I ain't seen not a lick of green sticker. And when I call down to the city, ain't no paperwork on file.
Yeah.
No, but that's some things that, as far as wholesaling, Reggie, you were right. As far as the business portion of it, title, taxes, a lot of them get killed in water bills because they never pull any water and taxes. I'm gonna say water and tax. They never pull any water. They never pull any taxes. And then also, I mean, all three: water, taxes, and title.
Yeah.
So because by the time they actually do find that buyer, that end buyer, they're just now pulling title work, and I mean, it's always usually a mess.
But I don't understand why people don't want to pull a title, and title ain't but a couple $100. Like,
but they don't have the money. That's the thing. Majority of the time when people get into wholesaling, especially new people, they don't have any money, and they go into the seminars and or listen to other people that say you don't need any money, and they truly don't have any money. They have no idea. A lot of them have no idea what any of the stuff costs. They don't even know how to put together a real estate transaction besides what they've learned off of YouTube and some other stuff. But most of the time they just skim to the part where they get to see the check. They didn't get through all the rest of it, or whomever the person was didn't tell them the in between. Is like, hey, you find a house, you find a willing seller, you get them to sign your contract, use this boilerplate contract, they sign it, you find an end buyer, get paid.
Right.
Well, like my first deal, I was broke. I ain't had nothing, but and then the times have changed. So I did my first deal in like 2013 or 2012. I found my buyer on Craigslist, and then I ended up doing a lot of deals with her. And my first deal was from one of my subs, JB. I sold his rental property over on Harlow and 7 Mile. That's the hood of the hood. But it was Section 8, getting $950 a month, and this 2012. That's rich. But in 2021, Craigslist don't work no more. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you got to adjust to the times too. And I think that's what messed people up too. Now, I think over time, as you start building relationships with title companies, they might throw you a couple for free if you doing their work. Because I used to close all my deals through Embassy for I knew Emma. And then I worked out a deal with them. I would refer some investors there so they would give me free title search. But you got to build those relationships with people too. And you got to know what the hell you're doing, because you can't have them pulling all this title for you for the free and you ain't closing no deals.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's the same thing. Like being a realtor, when I order title work, nobody's charging me up front because I give them a lot of business, right? And they just expect it from realtors, right? So it's all about that relationship. And then you're not paying up front, but I do make sure I'm sending business to them outside of just my investment deals and my real estate deals. So when I know people doing private sales, I'll be like, hey, go to Detroit Title or go to Red Carpet or whatever title company I refer them to, or I might give them 2 or 3 title companies and let them choose. But yeah, it's just some things that, but even with being a realtor, there's parts that new agents skip over. So
there's a lot of parts that new agents skip over because they pick the agency. No shade of anybody, but they do pick some of the agencies that do not have any training and they don't have any training because they get the higher commission. And I'm like, that's great. I understand everybody go for your money, but sometimes you got to take a little in order to get some experience. Like I said, my first brokerage that I signed up with, it was 50-50. And I'm like, okay, I needed that only because of the fact that I learned and I could make mistakes, and they were large enough for me to make those mistakes, but I learned a lot. The second thing is, I think because of this pandemic also, and a little bit prior to, people got away from continuing education. I took a minimum of 2 classes a month when I was with Knockboard, GMAR, whatever board I was on. In at the time, I always took Con Ed classes. And it's simple stuff. I had just recently had a person that's supposed to be a broker write up a deal. They said that their buyer would pay all the seller's closing costs up to a certain amount.
Yeah.
That's what happened. And then I got a phone call from said person and said, hey, the closing costs only add up to this amount, but they're including commissions. I said, the statement that the addendum is ambiguous, and it stated all of seller's closing costs.
Yep.
So so I'm like, have a nice day.
Like, right, where my check?
The seller's already signed, and we're today is closing day. So so it's like, well, I don't know what I'm gonna tell the buyer. I'm like, well, tell the buyer that they have a nice home and they got it at a great price.
And tell them have a great day and stay cool because it's hot.
And run that commission check.
Thanks. And tell the buyer also that I accept wires. Or a paper check. However you need to give it to me. All right. Somebody said, where is it? Oh, back up. First, we've been answering all these questions. I ain't did my announcements. I forgot.
No,
We
church announcement.
Right. We just been talking like we on the phone like normal. Church finger. All right. So welcome everybody to What Up Though Fridays. We got a special guest, Reggie P, in the building. He is a licensed broker in the city. How long you been licensed, Reg? It's been a long time.
29 years.
Oh, so he has a lot of tenure. He's very seasoned.
Yes, that's city. One of my mentors.
Yeah. He you came on the tour with us. Yeah, the last 2 years, like he came to the mastermind and stuff when we do the tour in the city. So hopefully he can come this year. We moved it up till August so it won't be as cold on the water. So hopefully you can make it out this time. If y'all want y'all question answered, we are all for-profit separate entities. No 501(c) here. All right. So we all have bills to pay. Like this great computer that we're talking on that you seeing us, we had to pay for it. So Cash App is at the bottom, $5 minimum, get your question answered. Not a paragraph, not a book, not a thesis statement, not a fucking essay. One question, not with a run along, semicolon or colon. One question. All right. So I'm going to the next one. All right. Somebody said, where's a good place to buy in Detroit because I'm trying to invest? And from my understanding, sometimes it ranges from block to block.
Let me ask that person this. What is your budget? Because people call me all the time and they say, I'm looking to invest in Detroit or I'm looking to invest. And I ask them, what's their budget? And they say, oh, it depends.
Yes.
And I say, depends on what? Well, it depends on how much work it needs. Well, and I'll give them a property that says 100,000 needs 40,000 in renovations. They'll say, oh, well, you got something for 20,000? Well, that's your budget. Let's lead with that first.
Yes.
What's your budget?
How much do you have?
Yep. Are you paying cash? Are you doing private lending or hard money lending? Then that helps wholesalers and realtors determine like what type of deals to structure for you, what type of deals to look for you. Because when people just say, I'm looking to invest, we have to start with the financing because the deals are out there. We just have to know which deals will work for you.
I think another good question to ask is, are you broke or do you have money? Or maybe this is just me because I'm just that blunt. Because if you're broke, you're going to nickel and dime me this whole motherfucking rehab. And I don't even want to deal with it. Because Detroit, all right, so if it has knob and tube off top, I'm letting y'all know. If I'm your contractor, I'm gunning that bitch. I'm not about to sit up here and bust 1,000 holes in the wall when I could have just took them out and been able to go in there and see what I needed to take out and put new walls up. Most Detroit houses are a minimum of 60 years old. Balfour is 107 years old. So that means all this old shit been there since it got built. It got to come out. So if I'm doing a full gut and I'm taking that plaster out, the wall get pushed back because plaster is however many inches thick it is, and drywall just a half an inch plus, what's behind it for your insulation. So all that make a difference. So sometimes when you gut in the house, your room gonna appear bigger because you ain't got all that thick ass plaster up there and you got drywall which is thinner, which changes your rehab price. Because if I got to do a full gut now, that 40,000 rehab just became 140. And people don't understand that. And then it's like a lot of framing. So like on your rehab, like, a typical bungalow probably hit you 40, I'm going to say 40, 75,000 if it's just cosmetics. But once you get into a full gut in the city right now, running you at least 170, 175 from a contractor. And that's from roof to the basement, no foundation. So if you only got $20,000, you should have been here 10 years ago.
Yeah, and then the other
500. Go ahead, Reg, my bad.
Oh no problem. The other thing is like you can get a cheap house. You just got to keep in mind it's going to cost you to renovate it. And when people ask what area, that's why we ask what budget, because like you can find you a little frame 3-bedroom ranch that may or may not have a basement for like under 20,000, right? But this may be in an area where you can't flip it.
Yeah.
Right? It may only have a resale value of 45 or 50, and you bought it for 20, and you might have to put 20 or 25 into it. It's just not enough spread for you to flip it. But if you say, hey, my budget is 30, 35,000, I'm looking to buy and hold, that property may work for you because you can still rent it for $800 a month. So it's budget, strategy, location. if you don't know those 3 things, then it's kind of useless at this point. We can help you identify the location, but it has to be based on your budget and your strategy.
Correct.
I can't tell you that if you're looking for a flip, it's just certain areas we're not going in because the resale value is not there based on the housing stock and the cost to renovate most of those properties. It's just not enough spread. And then not only that, there's probably not even a market there yet to support those values.
Correct.
So again, budget and strategy. Now, if you're buying and holding, then that kind of opens the city wide up for you because you can almost buy and rent everywhere, but then there are some areas where you may not want to deal with, right? So I might call Marcus and say, hey, I got an investor that got 10 properties over in this area, and he said, I don't manage properties over there, right? So now we have to look at a whole different area, even though you got the money and the strategy.
Yep. Because people ask me, is there certain areas I don't rehab? I rehab wherever because we putting dogs on there, and it's in my contract. If anything gets stolen, you paying for it.
Right.
So it don't bother me. I mean, as long as you secure the property right, and depending on the neighborhood, you might have to introduce yourself, pay a couple dollars for, the neighborhood person to watch the house. But, it's strategy. And I tell people that's the difference between a contractor that's from Detroit and one that's from across 8 miles somewhere.
Oh. So. Yeah, we had a contractor on a property. Andre, one of the agents here, he renovates too, right? So he on the fix and flip, his contractors out there, and they left the back of their truck open, and then they got the front door open while they're working on the property. And he's like, dude, y'all can't. They not even supposed to know y'all inside working, but they got the front door open, all they tools sitting there. They'll leave the back door of their truck open while they go in and stuff. And it's like, dude, that don't work in certain neighborhoods.
Nope, sure don't. Tell them all the time, lock your stuff up, lock my house up. I mean, from a standpoint of property management, it's kind of like the same thing. I'll only manage in certain areas. And I still get the choice to pick and choose the owners that I work with as well, because my thing is at the end of the day, I'm looking for quality properties and owners.
Right.
I'm personally not a slumlord or slum person in general. So my thing is this: I can't manage something when you want to take all of your money and not do any more repairs to this property. We have to. Our end goal is to get the C of O if we don't already have it. And to continuously do upgrades, because these again are 60-plus-year-old houses that either you bought with a nice little facelift but still have progress to go, or you completely redone the rehab but yet you still have some tools and fuse you still have to finish. The unfortunate part about owning a home is that it's always work that's going to be done, always. So you may get out 6 months without having to do anything, and especially without the change of season here, we have it a lot. We have a lot more work to do. It's patching of cement, roofing issues, clogged gutters. I mean, you're almost going to have a maintenance bill on an average of every month.
Yeah, and I would say as far as areas, so the person asked about areas, like I have investors that brought over like 8 Mile and Kelly, like Rossini and Edmore and some of the frame homes over there. And it's like, in some of the blocks, they got the only 3 houses on the block.
Okay.
Right? But they brought them dirt cheap. They put some money, and they're actually handyman themselves. They do some of the work themselves.
Okay.
And they just slow walk the project. So they bought the house for $10,000 or $15,000. It may have taken them 8 months to put it together. They put a tenant in there, and they're good, right? So if that's your strategy, if you can do that, then you got a lot more options than the average investor. But everybody doesn't have that skill set or the patience to do that.
True.
That's true.
And most of the time, if property managers are looking for properties that are either done or probably 90% done, usually you won't find one that's going to continue to be with you for 8 months while you piece together this project, because I mean, at the end of the day, it's time that's being taken out of everybody's schedule. So it's best that either A, you can call once it's 90% done, or either 100% finished. Because I have had people to reach out to me and say, hey, I just bought it. Can you go take a look at it? Great. Is it ready to go? I think it is. And I get over there, I'm like, nobody can live here. I cannot rent this property. And my thing is, I have to tell them that. And they're like, well, somebody else told me that I could get $800 for it right now. Well, whomever that was, I think you need to call them back and find out if they can do it, because it's not going to happen on this end. I mean,
that sounds like the people who call me like, can you do it one room at a time? No, the fuck I can't.
Right.
No.
See, that's the difference. Also, I tell people with handyman services and construction contractors services.
No.
But even then,
I'm not doing no one room at a time. That would take me longer.
The best time I would say to use, like, a handyman comes in handy after you've already renovated the property, you got tenants in there, and you've already met city code. And then maybe 6 months later, you know, a door falls off the hinge or whatever, the kids mess something up. And you just call a handyman over because your GC is too busy to come over there for a $200 or $300 job, right? Mm-hmm. So there's a time and a place for handyman, but not at the beginning of the project. Because I think a lot of people don't understand. You still got to pass the city inspection.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And you can find somebody to rent that house for $800, but it's probably not going to be the person you want if they accept it in that condition.
Mm-hmm.
Now they dodging you, you dodging the city, and the minute they decide to go around you and call the city on you, they're gonna be able to dodge you forever. So
yep, that's a fact.
Yep, it pay to do it right up front.
It does.
Because this is my thing. Like, I don't like handymen are awesome. Like, I mean, everybody has a time and place. Like, you use a GC on a land bank house for damn sure. You ain't using no handyman because everything is gonna fail unless he is one of those persons who actually know code, but those are far and few between. So, like, the fact that I know code, like, I mean, I know it. Like, I already know what this inspector gonna come in here and do. I overdo what they gonna ask me to do just so I can get my green sticker and start closing off my walls. And the handyman or woman, they don't know code like that. Now, maybe they'll start to learn code, and then that'll help them out. And then at that point, why you ain't licensed? You know, if you know everything to do it.
I'm a bad test taker.
You better have your wife take it so she can be 51 and you be 49, and then y'all can still go pull permits. But because when I went and got my license, that's what I saw in class. It was other women in there, a lot of others, and they were taking it for that reason. They husband, so she can be the 51 and he can be the one out there doing the work. That's because they just needed it so they can pull permits. And I don't know why we don't do that. So if you got a brother and a sister,
we all gotta own. We gotta be bosses. Everybody gotta be a boss.
Yeah, everybody gotta be a boss, and
everybody gotta be a boss.
I don't know, cause my daddy a veteran. And I'm like, Pops, you want to be 49%?
Yeah.
I mean,
my mother is 51%,
and she should be.
Popular Realty is a woman-owned.
As it should be. And I'm like, Dad, you want to be it? Because I'm going to see him tomorrow. My godson graduates Sunday, and then I'm gonna go check on him. I'm like, you are a retired brick mason. What you doing?
Yeah.
Nothing. Why don't you come home for about a couple weeks? Like, I got you. You know what I'm saying? And people just don't look at it like that. And I just don't know why I don't know. Like, when the market was so cheap here, people should have been putting their tax returns together and buying these houses when houses was $500.
Right.
They can still put their tax returns to good use.
First of
all, let's do this. We forgot about other options like land contracts. Land contracts are still out there.
True.
Some people are still willing to do them. They are sticky, and I'm not going to get into all of that. But at the end of the day, it's still an option. We still have some rent-to-own options. I mean, there's a lot of creative ways you can become an owner in a property or own a property.
I like rent-to-own because I ain't got to do no repairs.
Yeah, so that's like my baby is land contract. So I buy properties and I just sell them on land contract. So I bought a property on Glastonbury from the tax sale for $6,000, I put like 3,000 into it because I just basically cleaned it out, painted, got the plumbing going. So I had like 3,000 into it. It was a lady staying there. She rented from me for about 6 months before she started defaulting on everything. So I collected a little rent, but then I just put it on the market for like 25,000, and somebody gave me 4,000 down. So I had like half my money back up front, and now they paying me $400 a month plus interest. I was charging 8% interest on that one.
That's good.
Years. So when you start adding the money up, I'm 9,000 in, I'm getting 4,000 back. So technically, I'm only 5,000 in. So instead of me taking 50,000 and buying one house, I can take 50,000 and buy several properties. And instead of me having one property generating rent, I got 10 houses that's generating $400 a month. They pay their own taxes and insurance, and I don't have to do any repairs. I just go to the P.O. box. Well, my wife goes to the P.O. box every month. So
now, when you're doing that, Reg, with the taxes, do you check to make sure they pay? Because like when I did mine, I messed up. I didn't do no interest, but I paid the taxes because I ain't want no problems.
No, so yeah, so if you structure your land contracts right and record them, the county will send you a notice and a buyer, which is the actual homeowner now. They'll just like they'll send your mortgage company a notice if you don't pay your taxes. The same with insurance. I'll get a cancellation notice. My land contracts are structured that if they don't pay, if they default, I have the option to pay them and then add them to the balance, or I can adjust their monthly payment. I keep everybody's monthly payment. I call it Walmart money, right? So I keep the payments low enough that if you lose your job, you can go work part-time at Walmart and still pay your house note.
Yeah.
Right.
That's affordable housing.
That is affordable.
Yeah, because here's the thing, right? If you rent to somebody for say $850, $900, by the time you pay taxes, insurance, and maintenance, your net is only and management fees, you're only netting $400 or $450 anyway.
Right.
So why not just sell it to somebody on land contract for $400 a month? And now you don't have all the extra responsibility and liability, because now I don't necessarily have to bring it up to city code if they negotiated an as-is sale. I don't have to register it as a rental property because it's not a rental property, right? And I created a homeowner in that neighborhood. They can refinance it. If they can't afford to pay me, they can just put it on the market and sell it and pay my balance off, right? And they might walk away with some money afterwards, which they can go and reset their life, right? The other option is I can sell my interest. I can say, Marcus, look, I got this lady that been paying me for 2 years straight. She still owe me $30,000. I need some money. Can you give me $25,000 and buy me out? And he's like, cool. She owe you $30,000 with interest. I'm gonna make 30 plus another $2 or $3 grand in interest. I'll buy that out, because that's what the banks do when they sell your note.
Absolutely.
I didn't know that until we went through with my mom's house, and when we did the settlement for $18,000. This was some years ago. When the paperwork came, it showed like a regular person name that owned it, and I'm like, this ain't a partnership bank.
Somebody
and that's
wholesale.
Yes, they bought it.
And
so we basically
that's another option that people have, is that you can actually bid on properties at the sheriff's sale, not the Wayne County tax sale, with that too, but also at the sheriff's sale, and you can eventually own the property, but you're buying the note, you're buying the interest that the mortgage company had or has. They're selling it to you because this person defaulted after the redemption period here in Michigan. Then you would actually own the actual real estate. But even if they don't, I'm sorry, excuse me, y'all.
You good?
Even if the person redeems the property, get your money back plus interest, so you still make money.
Yeah.
So it's other different ways. That's actually a part of wholesaling too. I consider it a part of wholesaling.
Yeah.
Different avenues of wholesaling and making additional money. But again, that was my bread and butter back in the day. Between 2006 and 2009 was sheriff deeds and short sales. So I love them. I do.
A lot of people scared of the sheriff sale because of the 6-month redemption period.
But that's the thing. It's still a safe thing. Is you don't get the actual property, but you will get your money back, as well as it's a per diem, and so you get an interest. So if they had a high interest rate, some people it was $20 a day.
Yep. That's better than the stock market.
It is better than the stock market. You mean I get my whole principal and some money?
Yep.
Please let me. No.
Yeah.
Those are different options that people have. Like I say, it's not just buying it retail or just the traditional wholesale A to B, B to C, but you also have land contracts. You also have the sheriff's sale. You have the tax sale, and a lot of times you don't even have to be in that city. Like auction.com, a lot of those houses or a lot of those, I'll say, notes are being sold on auction.com. A lot of people don't know, and I had to talk to several investors that bought off of auction.com and some of the other auction sites where they thought they bought the house and they're contacting me to evict. And I'm just like, you don't own the home. They're like, yes, I do. I have a quitclaim deed from the bank. I said, no, you got the quitclaim deed, but yet this still is in the redemption period for the current homeowner. You don't own the house yet. They just quitclaim you the interest that they have in the property. And they quitclaim you the interest they have in the note, basically, until it becomes effective after the redemption period. And I'm like, you can't evict them. Right. If anything, they can sell the house, and and some deals did lead to that. It leads to me actually contacting that homeowner and facilitating the deal where, I have to get a payoff from the person who purchased it from the bank, and then helping the homeowner either sell it or try to redeem it.
Yeah. What's your thoughts on because I get a lot of people ask me about being licensed in wholesaling?
Nope.
You don't think so?
No, I do not. Those are not. I'm a big stickler on that too, because in the capacity of being an agent, you are now legally bound, and you cannot. It's a gray area in this, and you have to walk that fine line between the contracts, your agency, as far as disclosing which side you're on,
right?
Whose side you're on. So no, I can tell people at the end of the day, if you stay unlicensed, you can kind of say, "Oops, I didn't know." As a licensed individual, salesperson, broker, you cannot say, "Oops, I didn't know."
Right. Well, my take on it's a little different because to me it's all about disclosure, right? Because some people just want to get rid of the property, not just the wholesaling part, but the investing part as well. Because normally what I do when I meet with a client, of course, you know how we do the CMA and everything, and we tell them market values. And most sellers, when they interview a realtor, most of the time they're interviewing 2 or 3 other realtors as well. That's giving them information. But I do give them the option to either list it. If you make these repairs, this is what the value is. If you want to just sell it as is, this is what it's likely to sell for. Here's the range, or I'll buy it from you, right? If they choose to allow me to buy it, then I have certain disclosures and language in my contract that lets them know I'm buying this to fix it and sell it for profit. The wholesaling piece, it's not like the traditional wholesale where I'm just putting a contract and I'm assigning my interest. I am actually buying that property, but in reality, I probably have a buyer in mind or other investors in mind. So I negotiate with my sellers what they consider a fair price based on what their motivation is. So if I go to a seller like the last one I did, we went and they wanted the house was worth $195 repaired, and they said give them 120, get them 120 on the market as is. They were fine with it. I told them I'll give them 110. They don't have to worry about commissions. They don't have to worry about title company fees or anything, and they sold it to me for 110. They just needed to get rid of the property. Correct. And we put the money into it and we resold it as a flip. But I've also done scenarios like that where I just brought the property and I just put it back on the market and sold it to another investor, or I just sold it directly to another investor for profit. But I explained that in writing up front. That's what I intended to do.
But I'm gonna kind of hit you with your own stuff. What was the main thing we just said that wholesalers don't have in place?
Well, a lot of them don't have it.
So that's the part that I guess my thing is, and I hear you. That's exactly how I do it, as well as my company. We are wholesale friendly. I do allow my agents to do wholesale deals unless it's supervised by me, and that's another thing. Other than that, don't go rogue. You on your own. You got to deal with the state. If I don't know about it, I don't know about it. I need you to still let me know what it is so I can help you structure it. But what I'm saying is that majority of the time, what I'm finding is people are just so independent, and especially they feel like I'm gonna get a license, I can sell more, and they're out here selling properties, not disclosing, not telling the truth, and that's what gets them in trouble. So I guess I look at it from that end, where I've had a couple of people actually come to me with situations, and it's just like you're in some deep water. Like,
yeah, it's a lot of liability.
Yeah,
if they're not doing it right. And I think that's why, like, when you go to a lot of those investor seminars, they tell you don't get a license or you don't need a license. But Michigan law is more than 6 transactions you're supposed to be licensed, and it's
Whoops.
Yeah, but it's kind of a gray area because, it's 6 transactions, but a lot of times they're looking at it from the standpoint of you're dealing with the general public. I see wholesalers all the time. They got websites that say homes for sale, or we buy homes, or look at our properties that we have available, right? The idea behind what the state is trying to protect the average consumer. Mm-hmm. The average consumer will look at that website and assume that you are a licensed real estate professional, because they'll come to you to buy a property, and you're not giving them a seller's disclosure, a lead-based paint disclosure, and most of the time they don't know the state laws required. So there's a gray area there, but there's definitely a way to do it and do it all above board and make a lot more money, because most of my clients that don't either sell to me direct or don't take one of those other options, they still list the property and I get a commission, right? So a lot of wholesalers are leaving money on the table. And I tell some wholesalers, look, you can't work out every deal. Why don't you work out a referral agreement or some type of marketing agreement with some realtors? Say, hey, I got this property. This lady needs to sell. She don't mind listing a property. And, just refer it out to a realtor or something and work something out.
Mm-hmm.
Those that do and the ones that work with, they make quite a bit of money, and we all are very happy.
Yeah.
It's all about teamwork.
And two, I want to tell people too, like, a lot of times with wholesalers or people that are doing deals and they don't want to get their license, they don't want to get their license because they don't want to pay board dues and all these fees that go along with being a realtor. The reality of it is you don't have to be a realtor. You can still have your real estate license. So being a realtor just means you're part of the organization. So that's completely different. There's a lot of real estate brokers that are not realtors out there that are, wholesale friendly.
Mm-hmm. What somebody else say? All right, so somebody said, what does a good working relationship between a realtor and a wholesaler look like? Well, y'all kind of just answered that.
Yeah, it's, like so here's the difference. When a wholesaler gets a property, they have to go in their database. Maybe they have some mass marketing campaign. They're generating leads, however they go about getting their investor clients. When I pick a property or I put that property on the market, the investors are coming to me. So I got a database full of investors from over 20 years in my database. So if a wholesaler sends me a property and say, hey, I got this deal, just add your commission on top. Do you have a buyer? Like I had somebody on Facebook earlier just inbox me a property. I said, this is great for my buyer because my buyer sold their home. They're paying cash and it's not enough inventory on the market. This wholesaler got a property in Southfield, so I sent my agent over there with the buyer. It's a cash transaction. That's what the wholesaler wants. It don't matter if it's an investor buyer or owner occupant buyer. They just want the deal. So that's the relationship. You bring the deals to the table. You send them to agents that have investors and you work together. But if you're trying to keep all the money and you're not trying to split some of the money, then it's not going to work.
Yeah. Also, you have a good relationship is working with a realtor that is familiar with wholesaling. And I say that because some of these deals, you cannot have a mortgage. And some people don't understand that. Majority of the time, wholesaling is a cash business, or hard money is like the only type of usually financing that is available, or some type of conventional financing is available. But you have to know or work with somebody who knows these things, because I have seen it in the past where it has been listed, it's a wholesale deal, they accept an FHA offer, and it's like FHA does not play those games when it comes to title, when it's flipping in the middle. They're really strict on seasoning and title. So you just have to work. Also, the good working relationship is knowing that the person you're working with, a realtor you chose, is privy into knowing how the transaction will go, so it can go smoothly. Also, that's a beautiful relationship when they do know how to get rid of it fast, as well as cash and or other financing for the end buyer.
Right. And the other thing I would say too is just be honest up front. Like I get a lot of people calling me and saying, hey, I'm an investor, I'm looking for some properties, what do you have? When actually they're wholesalers.
Yeah.
I know what the game is. Just like, look, I'm a wholesaler. I got some investors. This is what we looking for, right? Do you mind if I use this property and add my fee on top? I just want to get the property sold for my client. Yeah. So I'm paying another agent a co-op fee. If you charge your client an assignment fee or whatever you want to charge, that's fine. And I don't think a lot of people understand too. The reason I tell wholesalers to get licensed also, because you can also structure the deal where it's not an assignment fee. We can legally charge our buyer based on our buyer agency agreement. So I can have a $30,000 home that's a hot property, and I'm working with the buyer and the seller. The seller's going to pay me, say, my minimum commission of $2,000, for example, right? I can charge that buyer a $5,000 buyer agency fee, right? Or $2,000 buyer agency fee. If I'm bringing that buyer investor a great deal, what's the difference between them paying $35,000 to a wholesaler and a wholesaler making $5,000, or paying $35,000 for the home where $5,000 of it is my buyer agency fee? It's the same amount of money for the same transaction for the same end result. So I can get paid from the seller and the buyer.
But do you have to be a broker to be able to do that, or you can just be an agent?
No, you can be an agent. Yep, it's a buyer agency agreement. Just like we have a listing agreement, we have a buyer agency agreement, exclusive buyer agency agreement. It says you're going to work with me. These are my fees. Most agents, what they do is they say, I'm expected to get 3% off the transaction. But if I'm collecting it from the seller side, I'm not going to charge you. But if the co-op fee is only 2%, then you're responsible for paying me the other 1%. The problem people get confused on with real estate agents, they think we all work for 6%. That is an absolute lie. We charge whatever we want and what we negotiate. So I have buyers that can pay in our buyer agency agreement. There's also a clause in there for a retainer fee. So I can charge you $500 up front for just working with me. That's the fee what it's going to cost you to start working with me to get my services. And for that, I'm going to provide you on-market deals, off-market deals. I'm going to send you pre-foreclosures. I'm going to send you probate properties, right? So it's costing me for that research. I can charge you for that if I negotiate it. So it's a lot more money on the table, but people just try to avoid this side of it because you have to follow some laws and some other things. Yeah. But there's a lot of your big wholesalers here in Michigan, and even some I know across the country, actually have a real estate license. They don't promote that because it doesn't look sexy on Instagram. Either they had a real estate license or they got one.
Everybody, that's why Reggie is the man. Okay? That's exactly why he is been in this business for 20 plus years. So I'm talking about, I even learn new stuff every day.
I actually learned about wholesaling from my first broker at Century 21. And it's not new. It's just that they phrased it something different. Like when you watch the old Carlton Sheets VHS tapes, right? That's all he was doing. But my broker, somebody had come to me. Our office was on Chester, right off Harper and Casual. And my broker, somebody would want to list their house for like $10,000 on Wilford or Park Grove or something, right? He would say, okay, we'll put this deal together. He would take that property and take it up the street to Remco. It was a company called Remco that was buying up the east side. And he'll go to them and say, we got this property for $14,000, right? They'll buy it because they was buying everything anyway. He'll come back, he'll give me $2,000 and he'll keep $2,000, right? So, and it was just that simple.
And so you let them know that he literally used to go up the street with this paper in his
literally. Like Remco was on Harper just before Whittier.
I'm just saying, people don't realize like all the DocuSign and all that stuff wasn't like we had to handwrite this stuff and like get in the car and drive it up to the
carbon copy. So if you wrote and it went through like 4 sheets of paper. And the top copy said owner, the next copy said buyer, then it said broker.
That's fun.
Take it up the street, get in the car, turn the AC on, put the car in drive, and drive it up the street in order to present the offer.
Somebody said Glastonbury, that was a good find. I wish I would have found you before my current contractor. Hey, if fuck you, I'm right here. Well, I'm gonna hope he don't or she, because I be hoping for the best. But if it happened, I'm right here, baby. A land contract sounds like seller financing, Rich.
That's all it is.
That's all it is.
So you can actually personally give a buyer a mortgage, right? So a land contract is one instrument. You're doing a land contract. The land contract and or the memorandum is recorded, right? Or you can do seller financing where you're actually giving a mortgage. So with the mortgage situation, the deed actually changed hands at that time. And then you as the seller, you have that mortgage note, just like the bank. With a land contract, the land contract is to transfer and record it. The deed is held in escrow by the title company until it's paid off. But the buyer is still the legal owner of the property. Your interest is just your interest based on the balance that's owed to you on land contract. And so that's all it is, a seller financing.
Where's the deed held again?
In escrow with the title company, if you do it right.
It's not in a safe deposit box in the old man's house?
Nope. Because if that old man pass and your kids and you pass and your kids pay that house off, and then that old man kids say, no, they never paid me, you're going to have to go to court. But if the title company holds it and you can present proof, you may still have to go to court depending on the situation. But all you got to show is proof. The deed already signed. You don't have to go through the estate or anything. It's already there.
Let me see. We got some more questions. I had to end the Instagram live because it kept doing the echo, so I can't even answer the questions from there.
Still doing the echo.
Well, I guess I could go back live now, and then maybe it won't be an echo. Oh, you said it's still doing one?
A
Maybe
little
I
bit.
put my headphones in. Maybe that'll help. I don't know. So what y'all? I think they extended the tax thing. I don't think it's gonna be no tax.
Nope, there's no foreclosures for. Well, I ain't gonna say no foreclosures. Apparently, there are not supposed to be any foreclosures or any occupied properties in Wayne County.
So I gotta pay
here's what you do. Go on Wayne County Wayne County Treasurer website, right? They got a list of people that their foreclosure list, right? So go back a year or two, and all of those people that was facing foreclosure that they didn't get foreclosed on, just start doing your mailers and call, because some of the people, they left the property already, or they plan on leaving anyway. They're not trying to save the property. The only reason they still there because the county stopped all foreclosure activity. So find that list from 2019 or 2020 and just start approaching those people and say, hey, are you interested in selling your home? The sad part about that is so many people got so much equity in their homes. I mean, they're losing their house for $6,000 and it's worth 80 as is. So like, go to them, offer them 40 or 50. That's your wholesale deal right there.
Yeah, and then them better off too, because now they walking away with something in their pocket instead of just getting put out and ain't got nothing. So you can always present that to them too. Offer them the 40 and throw them another 1,000 once you wholesale it for whatever you're gonna sell it for to pay for the moving truck.
Yep.
Yeah, this would be the best time to do a wholesale deal with things like that. And also before it gives you enough time to get it settled, pay the taxes if you can, etc. Like, I mean, I believe they're still doing payment arrangements. If you go down there, the last time I made an appointment to go down, they were still doing payment arrangements. They still encourage you to make a payment arrangement on your property if you can, because guess what, everybody, that year, and it's not even a year, it comes up fast. And I know for a fact, since this is our second chance, and I say us as far as anybody in Detroit or whatever Wayne County, for us not to lose your property, when March 31st rolls around next year, there is no more chances. I can almost stamp that. So anybody see this video, that's going to be law. March 31st by 5 p.m. If you don't have it all paid by then, it is they're probably not going to they're not going to extend anything else, because we've had 2020, which was a hard year, and now you've had the entire year of 2021 in order to get into either a payment arrangement and or pay them off completely, or at least pay the delinquent years. Like I tell some of my clients that are having a hard time, I mean, you have to pay anything right now. They're at pretty much, you get 2.5, almost 3 years. So 2018s and prior, and actually now they'll be going into 2019s and prior. You need to have those paid off or in a payment arrangement and stay true to those payment arrangements.
Yeah, that like I'm on a payment plan for Balfour. That just reminded me I need to make another payment.
Yes, please do.
Because I don't need no problems at closing.
Also, I know it's really hard for a lot of people, and this is for wholesalers too. I mean, anybody. At the end of the day, I mean, they still have a lot of money out here that was allocated during this pandemic. It's not hard to get, but it is a little time consuming because you have to have your paperwork together, and you got to sit down and fill out these applications with these nonprofits and answer the questions to the best of your ability and just kind of see what you can get done. A lot of people are not applying for this SARA program, and they did not apply for the previous program, the EDP program, because of the application process. And we can't allow this money to go to waste because they are paying. As a property manager, I've received several checks from these programs, and then it did help a lot of people and also help them get ahead as far as rental. And now they're including utilities. So even utilities. So between SARA program, let's say DHS, Southwest Housing Solutions, United Community Housing. I mean, you can try to find something somewhere. Somebody should be able to help you in some form or fashion. Maybe not necessarily if you're an investor, but even if you're an investor with a property and have a tenant, you might be able to use some of those options as well, or at least suggest them.
Let me see if we got any new questions. Somebody said, how do we get access to the homes listed with the probate court?
So
that's a whole nother list, ain't it?
Well, yeah, it's a list. I just hate giving up my secrets sometimes because people take it and do the wrong stuff.
Don't give it out. If they want to know it, they should come to the mastermind. Cause that's a mastermind secret for real.
That is a mastermind secret.
So I have like my last 2 flips were probate properties, and I probably list about a property a month from the probate list, right? So I have 2 sources, and I have a VA that goes through and combs the list for all the estates and then see who has properties in those estates. Yeah, that would be a mastermind question that I'll save for later. But yeah, it's available out there. If you do the research, it's out there. It's companies that you can pay and they'll do it for you. But you also have to learn how to approach these people because there's so many investors, agents, and wholesalers calling these people and they're using the wrong approach. Because I'm 4 months, I don't even mention the property the first 3 calls. And they get 4 letters from me once a month, and the way my package is different. I have it's a whole system that I use. I'm getting better at it, so I just don't want anybody to go out and get the information and just flood it with, because they're already getting a lot of garbage. People are just grieving. So you can't have that same approach as you would for somebody that's just in foreclosure, right? Some of these people, the house is in foreclosure. It was their spouse that passed, or a person committed suicide in the house. It's a lot more to it. So just trying to get out here and point, aim, and shoot is probably not the best for you. You have to have somewhat of a heart dealing with it.
Yeah, you're gonna get your ass cussed out.
Yeah, you will.
Yeah, like, and it's gonna be a deserved one, because I know with Mama, like, if somebody would have called me then, I would have went off.
Yeah, and then like, so I have other resources. I got an estate sale person, I got markets property manager, I got contractors, I got clean out people. I got like a whole system. They may not even want to sell the house. They may want to rent it out. I got somebody for that. They may need a financial planner because it was money in the estate. They're not selling the house. They just need to know what to do with the money. I got somebody for that. So you have to be a resource if you're going to do probate. If not, don't touch it.
And I think you got to have some type of compassion. You can't really be no dick. Like, you really got to have a heart, because like, if you do that for that family and help them in their time of need, they're going to tell other people, like, look, I was going through all this with the family, but, you know, Marcus and Reg, they was very compassionate. They sent flowers, you know, like, all that little stuff matters. Like, with my older clients, like, that I rehab, or even if I sell their house, I send them flowers.
Right.
It'd be that little stuff. So, yeah, but that's definitely a mastermind question, because I don't like when people try to get a lot of free information that I know they can go make $1 million with. Hell no.
Yeah.
No.
And I would say a lot of wholesalers, like even with the probate, just start making relationships with.
You took it right out of my mouth. Say relationships.
You know what I'm saying? Make relationships with attorneys, financial planners. Everybody should know that you invest in real estate, right? And this is what you do. So you can bypass all the hard work of trying to get probate leads just by hooking up with the right attorneys. If I look through, if I pull my list, because it gives me the personal rep and the attorney's information, I can guarantee you out of 100 probate leads, it's probably the same 10 or 15 attorneys for majority of them.
They're like social workers. They got so many cases.
Yep.
They can lose track of some of them, you know?
Wow.
And when you call them, you can't be a dick either about it. You got to say, hey, I know you have a lot of cases, but I'm specifically calling about this. You know, can you give me a little bit? Can I take you out to lunch? I mean, it's a relationship builder. That's what it is. It's a relationship. But you're right, Reg. It's about 10 to 15 out of 100 different properties and cases that's happening. And there's a lot of intricate parts. That's the reason why you have to be compassionate, because you have to listen, because people always tell on themselves or tell the business. So you have to make sure you listen and take notes, so you'll know if this is actually going to be a good deal, because sometimes it may not be.
Right.
Just because it's a probate deal does not make it a great deal. And you have to still do title searches and everything else and run numbers. But try to do that on the back end while you're being compassionate toward the family and working with the probate attorney and following court orders. Also, you need to have a great relationship with the probate attorney, because they need to know what you're doing. Correct me if I'm wrong, Rich, because not all the time, again, when it comes to these assignments and A to Bs, don't always fly with all the judges that have to approve these contracts.
Yep.
So
yeah, with probate, it has to be a definite, like even like with a short sale. And the other thing with probate, you have to be a problem solver. So you're going to find properties where maybe there was a federal tax lien against the individual and there's a lien against the property. And then maybe the property is underwater and the family just want to walk away. Well, it's underwater for the condition that it's currently in, but it can be fixed and flipped, right? So there's some equity in it that way. You have to be able to figure out how to negotiate a short sale or have other solutions for the family. But it's when you bring that deal to the table, like some probate cases is they'll give the personal rep authorization to sell the property right up front. Some are subject to probate court approval.
Mm-hmm.
So if it's subject to court approval and you wait 2 or 3 months to get the court to approve this sale, and you're just not walking in the property for the first time after it's approved and you backed out, you just cost that family attorney fees and additional time that was wasted because your buyer didn't like the fact that the kitchen needed to be updated, right? So you need to do everything on the front end. So when that court approves that sale, you ready to close, right? Because the everybody's gonna have their hands out for that money, and you can't disappoint them at that point in time. So you can't have no flaky deals with probate.
Nope.
The cash has to be there sitting, waiting for the estate to be ready to close the deal.
Yeah, you got to know what the hell you're doing, for sure. Right. With probate. I personally never done any probate deals, but from people I've heard, like they can be very award winning as far as like the money, but you definitely got to know what you're doing and act like you got some sense.
Yeah, it's like I said, I just always think of quite a few moving parts. So you got to be in tune with all of it. Like you said, Reg, do all of your research up front. And once you find that buyer, then you can go ahead and be ready to close quickly. Because everybody is waiting for you. And there are fees continuously getting charged every month.
So just to kind of give you an example, my first year, I started doing kind of focusing on probates more in 2019. That first year I spent just under $7,000 in mailers, right? So it cost me about $7,000, but between commissions and flips, I made $68,000. So my flip I did with a partner. I just called another agent because I didn't have all the money, but I knew the deal would work. So I'm known for calling people and saying, hey, you want to get in on this deal, right? Whether we finance it or pay cash. So that, and then with all my commissions and everything. So I'm almost like at a 10-to-1 return. So when I talk about tracking your numbers and your expenses, you need to know this if you're going to get into probates and things like that, or even divorce opportunities as well. Mm-hmm. So you need to know what you're spending out and what you're making so that you can see it may not even be profitable. Or you may have a problem with converting these leads. You can get all the leads you want. If you don't know what the hell to say, it's not going to matter.
But I think that applies to all business tracking your stuff. Cause like I have a black and white notebook that I track every job I've ever been on. Like I'm simple. Labor column, material column. Know what's what, and I keep track. And every sub, I put what I owe them, and then what's been paid. So if God forbid I'm in the hospital or something, my sister grab that notebook. I know who Asia owe money to. At least that. And it's like people just don't. They don't even track business stuff, yet alone their own damn expenses. Like, and I tell people all the time, however you manage your personal expenses, you're gonna do your business the same way. Because as a GC, I get a lot of money at one damn time, and if you ain't got no sense, you gonna be in somebody's jail for stealing. Because I done had clients who done paid $50,000 to a contractor, ain't never seen that nigga. He done OD'd on the best dope the city had to offer. And then here he come calling me, and all I can do is bust out laughing. I'm like, why would you give somebody $50,000, and at the time you wouldn't give me $100 estimate fee? That's what you get. I feel no pity. So when you call me because you done got played, I am going to laugh very hysterically. Like,
you will.
I am. I'm gonna be a petty asshole, and I'm gonna call Marcus like, "Are you sitting down? Do you want to hear something funny?" Like you and Marcus get it too on his end as far as like the property management side, because people will be like, "Oh well, I found somebody who's gonna manage my property, and then they're gonna charge me 5%." You call them, because I thought property managers do 10% at the minimum.
Everything's negotiable in real estate, but at the end of the day, it's kind of like this: you get what you pay for. So.
I would say too with wholesalers, don't be scared to ask for the money, right? So like if you got a $20,000 property, because not all investors, so some people are true investors at heart, meaning that they just want to put money out and get money in return. So it seemed like everybody that wants to invest in real estate wants to buy it and renovate it and swing a hammer and then flip it, right? But really what they want is they want to put 40,000 up and get 70,000 back, right? So sometimes you may have a deal and you may have an investor that'll say, I'll front the money and we'll split the money this way. We'll split the profit this way at the end. Or you may say, okay, I got this deal and I just need to borrow some money or part of it. Or you partner up. Maybe you come with 20%, they come with 80%. So sometimes you just have to open your mouth. Like I said, I do it as a broker. I call other realtors I know. I love partnering with realtors and contractors because they already know their shit. Like if I call Marcus and be like, Marcus, this is a property in Palmer Woods for $80,000. He probably wouldn't even, we probably don't even have to call agent for a bid. You know what I'm saying? We just like, let's go get it.
That's it.
So
yeah, 80,000. I'm be like, give me 2 days. I'm pull that money off this Chase Visa right here. It's on my part.
But see, if I call a John Doe investor or somebody else, they want to go and analyze it and all of that, where another realtor or a contractor already knows it, right? So as a wholesaler, I would say don't be scared to ask for the money. The better you get at asking for the money or just negotiating that part of it, the quicker you can get into the fix and flip part of it as well. Because at the end of the day, and I say this like a broken record, wholesaling and being a real estate agent technically is the same damn thing. You got a buyer, seller, and we getting paid in the middle for bringing them together.
As somebody told me back in the day, you ain't nothing but a mouthpiece. I said, but his mouth get paid. It don't sound good coming out now. But at the end of the day, that's what I told
You got to put a disclaimer on that.
But that's what I told him back in the day.
But I'm going to say this, though, Reg, like a lot of wholesalers, and this myself when I first started, like, or just in business in general, do not depend on one fucking buyer or one client. Because after a while, that buyer going to go elsewhere or you ain't going to hear from them no more. Another thing as a wholesaler, don't hold no deals for nobody. The first MFer who put up that motherfucking deposit, is who gonna win. And if you get a bigger offer after that, oh well, you got to go with the first one. Like, you got to do your, part of the contract too. And I'm like, people, if they gonna sit there and take all this time to analyze, don't hold no damn house. And then that's gonna teach that person a lesson. Like, okay, I'm taking too long to analyze these deals, and I'm losing. So that might help, speed them up too, because you do got buyers like that want to analyze it. Or I gotta come to Detroit so high right now. By the time you book your flight, that bitch gone.
Yep.
So I'm like, y'all just be doing the most. Like, sir, no.
Get the deposit, do the walkthrough. I would tell all wholesalers. Like, I see some wholesalers, they do a real good job. They'll do a good video of the property. They'll take good photos. They're not leaving nothing out. Like, if you send me a property and I can't see the back of the house, or I need to know everything wrong with the property. So in your photos, include all the good stuff, but include the bad shit too. Mm-hmm. Now I can give you a definite offer or estimate of what I'm willing to offer subject to inspection, versus getting there and be like, oh, this ain't nothing like the photos, right? Yeah. So the more
like most of our listings, right?
Yeah, it is.
It's most of the listings that be out there. You be like, wow.
They're like,
you be like,
they'll zoom in a certain way so you don't see the whole house. Or I hate wholesalers that only see 10 pictures. Dude,
really? The Instagram and Snapchat filters that's on these photos that get
you. Yeah. If you present it, what's the Whispers got a song called In the Raw, right?
Yeah.
So what you see is what you get. If you present it in its rawest form, the type of buyers you get gonna be better buyers, and they gonna make it to closing. That's all you want, is the buyer that can make it to closing. So what, you don't make the 15,000, but you made the 9 and you on to the next deal.
Yeah, and you building a relationship too. I done had the worst deal I ever did was with a wholesaler. They wanted me to sign all this damn paperwork. Me and Marcus have never signed paperwork to this day. Me and Marvin have never signed paperwork. Me and Linwood P ain't never signed no paperwork. You gonna take what I said, or I'm gonna come beat your ass and get my money. That's usually how most Detroiters operate, right? So then this dude, he want me to sign all this JV agreement. I signed to get the closing. Him and the buyer and that bitch about to straight fist fight. This was over here at First American Title at the one on the, what's that, off the boulevard? And third, that one. And they in there about to fight. It was a deal in Southfield. I was getting it for like $25,000. That house worth over $100,000 now. Then I ended up connecting the seller and the buyer together, so I won't look bad, because the seller was actually an attorney. So I'm thinking, like, I'm not trying to go to court over some nigga shit that y'all got going on up here to make y'all. I've never had nobody straight up fist fighting and no damn closing. I'm just sitting there like, is y'all serious? And so that it ended up, I connected the seller and the buyer. They end up closing, and the seller still threw me a couple thousand, because he was like, AJ, out of all this shit, you the only one who was real from the jump. I'm like, tried to tell you, but y'all want me to sign a motherfucking dictionary full of paperwork that was even pointless, and it didn't include nothing about no damn fist fighting at the damn title company. I'm like, y'all look retarded.
Yeah.
I'm like, y'all doing the most. Somebody said no sound. Y'all just heard me, so maybe that's your end of the computer.
Yeah, I hear you clearly.
Yeah. That's on a MacBook. All right, so I'm back on Instagram too. I don't have no questions on the gram. I'm surprised.
Well, I'm gonna just say again, I enjoy wholesaling. It is a very lucrative business. I encourage people to get into it. I am currently teaching my nephews how to do it, getting them started with their lessons so that they can have some type of either full-time income or passive income. Because again, those $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 checks or more help when boosting your income and doing some things you want to do. If you want to take a vacation, or if, and here's another thing: wholesaling doesn't have to be a full-time career. It's not full-time for everybody. Some people may do 1 to 2 deals a year, a month. But it is a great way to make some passive income, and anybody can do it. I mean, it's literally just connecting 2 people together. It is like being a licensed agent, but as Ray said, you do want to make sure that you are following the state rules wherever you are. Oh, here's another one. You don't even have to do it necessarily in the state you live.
Right.
That's right. I got clients who wholesale. They don't even live in America.
Correct.
Right. Yeah.
So
I get people overseas calling me about my listings just so that they can sell them to other people, investors in their country.
Correct.
And they're charging them a fee for finding them deals. And all they doing is going on the MLS and finding properties. So again, it's a lot of money out there, but the person holding the money is lazy. So that's why you can wholesale and do a lot. But again, I just encourage people to, make sure you're running it like a business, because you'll make a lot more money that way.
Correct.
And keep your word. Like be honest. Like, I mean, just be honest and keep your word. Like that goes a long way. If you know you can't do something, this is wholesaling, whatever you do, just be honest. I can't do that. And what's wrong with saying that instead of taking on something that you know you can't do, and now you making yourself look bad and you making Detroit look bad.
Yeah, that's another thing. I also think about Detroit too, because when we go out on these tours and the clients they usually come to us, it's like they've already been through some of the other people, and you're like, okay, that's great.
Yeah, this lady wanted me to send her my general liability insurance, add her as additional insured for $800 job. If you don't get the fuck off my phone, you want me to add you for additional for $800? I'm not the contractor for you. If you think I'm about to play you for $800, and I'm about to waste my time to call my insurance agent to say, can you add me this person additional insurance for $800 job? You don't get the hell on, or they want you to be bonded for the smallest shit. I've never been bonded in the 10 years I've been in business, and I will not become bonded until I start doing federal work. Or when you're doing certain city projects, they might require you to be bonded, and you can get bonded on a per contract status. It doesn't have to be just bonded just because the hell I want to be bonded. That's a waste of money.
Right.
I'm like, people they'll find out one thing and lose their goddamn mind. So I need to be licensed, bonded, and insured. Man, you don't go on. No. I'm like, if the bank asked me to be bonded, why should you ask me to be bonded? I'm sorry, Red. What was you about to say?
No, I was going to say a lot of times, too, with a lot of wholesalers, when we was talking about title earlier, I just tell people to do a little bit of research. Like, there's ways to find out, like, property records and things like that online. That might be for a mastermind session, but as the individual, you can go and find out certain information on the property before you put it out there to investors. So, did it transfer on a quick claim deed? Was it sold through the tax sale before? So you want to see if you at least got somewhat clean title before you put it out there to the general public, because you'll ruin your reputation putting properties out there. And you got some big time investors that do buy a lot from wholesalers. Once you burn your name with them, you won't be able to go back, right? So make sure you're bringing a good product to the table. And that has a good spread, and they'll keep coming back to you. I've seen investors pay wholesalers marketing budgets, right? I just need you to do the legwork, find me the properties, and you work in your fees and just bring them to me, right? And then, because what they're doing is they're going out and investing, and you got to keep in mind, there's still hedge funds buying bulks of property.
Absolutely.
Investor groups. So if I'm an investor and I'm successful, like Asia said, and my friends want to get involved, we're going to form a group. And then I'm going back to the same source that kept bringing me the deals, right? So you may not make 20,000, you may make 7,000 on this one. But if I'm doing, 5 or 6 houses a month with you, just keep bringing me the deals. But it has to be a good product out there that you bring. Yeah, I don't want to because I paid Asia already to come out to do the bid on the property. Now we getting the closing, and you telling me it's some title and tax issues? Like, nah, dog, that don't fly. So make sure you're covering all your bases up front, because when you get the right investors, all you really need is maybe 7 good whales out there that constantly buy more properties, right? And they know what they're doing, and they'll just keep bringing you more business.
Yeah, just look at the volume. Like that's back to what we said earlier. Like, don't be greedy. Like, yeah, I could have made 15, but let me take this 10 because they about to buy 150 other houses from me. So am I going to mess up this relationship that I'm building for a couple $1,000s that I'm gonna get one time? And I think that's what mess up people with buyers and sellers or just business relationships in general. Like, you're not looking at the bigger picture. Everybody not a team player, and I learned that early on.
Yeah, and everybody looking to get. Some people are looking to get rich quick, and that's not real estate.
That's not business in general. Like, that's not business, I don't think.
I think the other thing too is like when wholesalers close a deal because it's so private, like Marcus would tell you, like when I sell a house, everybody know about it. The entire neighborhood know about it. So some of these areas, you don't have a lot of activity in those areas, right? So maybe nobody was able to sell their home because the areas that it ain't popping, right? Or there's no market for owner occupant buyers, but investors to buy there. So if you sell Miss Jones' house and it closed and you got an investor, you need to be marketing to the rest of that neighborhood, not just the absentee owners, not just the distressed sales. You just need to market to that neighborhood. Like, look, I just helped Miss Jones sell I just brought Miss Jones home, or I sold it to one of my investors. We're looking for other homes in the neighborhood because we want to reinvest into this area. Now you start generating a buzz in the neighborhood as being the investor for the area or the person that has a list of investors. And people will start calling you and saying, well, how much can I get for my house? You know, that's the advantage with realtors. That's what we get the advantage of because we always have all these different marketing tactics that bring us repeat business from one closed deal. We may get 6 or 7 different leads from it.
Reg, what is your contact info? Because I'm gonna put it in the caption.
Yep. So my regiusrealestate.com is my website. All my contact information is on there, but my office number is 248.
Hold on, I'm typing in the comments. regiusrealestate.com. All right, what else?
Yep. And my telephone number is 248.
This your cell phone, is it?
No, that's my office phone.
Yeah, because you know these. I'm telling you, YouTube will call you at 3 a.m.
I know.
All right, you said 248.
Yep, 291.
291.
Yep, 8057.
8057. What's your IG?
My IG is Regius Real Estate.
You know that. Reggie is. Y'all got any last minute thing? Yeah, we at 8:59.
I don't have any. I'm just excited about our Orlando seminar, June the 26th. I'm also excited about my vacation at that same time.
Yeah. We gotta get you to
I'm excited about August for the Real Detroit tour. I look forward to that every year.
Yeah. I gotta get the
this year I'm gonna have a headset.
Oh God. You're gonna be welcome to McDonald's.
Yep, I'm gonna be McDonald's. $15 an hour.
Right.
Right. White Castle paying $15 an hour. I seen the one there on the boulevard in Woodward, White Castle. They was like now hiring starting at $15 an hour. But they said White Castle always pretty paid. They pay above like I guess normal fast food workers.
Yeah, I didn't know they were really good too. Like it was easy to move up to become a manager too. And it was pretty lucrative being a manager at White Castle.
I couldn't work that. I'd be eating so many chicken rings. With honey mustard, good times. Give me a Vernus going down.
Oh my God.
What else? Church announcements, last minute. So, like Marcus was saying, we got the tour in the in-person mastermind in Orlando, Florida, which is June 26th of this year. So the in-person mastermind is $500 for the early bird, and regular tickets is $750. We're only doing 8 tickets total. We're keeping it nice, small, and intimate. It's going to be in a big, beautiful house in Orlando. It's one day. You're going to basically do the webinar with us. Your questions will get answered first because you're there, of course. So we have like an obligation to y'all. And then towards the end, we'll probably answer all the people from the actual webinar. August 12th through the 15th, 16th?
Yep.
It's the real estate tour. This is our 4th year, which is pretty dope. Me and Marcus do that. Reg comes out and does the in-person mastermind on Saturday night. We will feed you. I was gonna do hotels, but I'm just gonna let y'all get your own hotels right now because it's kind of too late for me to try to book that many right now. So I did change the link and the pricing. So we did an early bird and a regular. So it's basically 4 days, well, 3 days. Thursday we do the meet and greet out on the water, so you can see Detroit from the river and see the Canada side and the Detroit side. We do feed you. You can drink. Please do not get drunk, but you can drink and get tipsy if you prefer. Or if you do get drunk, I guess somebody
You can
else
get
go.
drunk because we got plenty of Ubers and drivers.
That's what I'm saying. I'm just not gonna be a liability person because I'm just gonna.
Like, everybody has a great time when they come. Like we have.
They do.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna look at you with judgments like, you didn't eat that much liquor. That's me. Then that Friday. True. Well, I did in college, but not anymore. I was poor then, broke college kid, and I'm like, why am I drinking in this? I'm already broke. Like it didn't make sense. But anyway, so that Friday we're gonna tour the east side. We'll see some properties that are for sale on the market. We're gonna take you from probably now $25,000 homes up to $1 million and more dollar homes because there are $1 million plus houses in Detroit, condos and stuff, and a lot of people just don't believe in it, but they are. Most of those are waterfront properties, and then when you get like into the Parma Woods, Indian Village, them probably got some $1 million houses, don't they?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
They got $1 million houses. Saturday, then we do lunch, of course, and then we finish for that day. Saturday we do the west side. We tour the same type of properties. We do lunch, and then later on that night we have dinner plus an in-person mastermind. We and kind of like do a recap, go over stuff. Reggie comes out. Last year we had an attorney come out. Well, he's an attorney and a broker, Ponce. Who else came? I forgot. But we invite a lot of people to come and just talk to y'all and kind of teach you basically the good, bad, and the ugly about investing in Detroit. Investing in Detroit is dope. We're a dope ass city. I love Detroit, like born and raised. This is my city. I love it. You're not gonna talk bad about my city and not get something said to you. That's just me. I'm a true Detroiter. What y'all got to say?
I do want to say, like, so I think it was not the one last year, the year before, the mastermind. You called me. Me and my wife was somewhere. We was at some event.
Yeah, y'all came dressed up. I'm like,
yeah. And I was like, we're going to run to this thing real quick. I was telling my wife when we got there. So y'all was talking, and then you was like, you want to talk. So I didn't have nothing prepared. But like all the information that was there, and as long as we was there, my wife was like, do they charge extra for that? Like I was like, no, it's included with the package. So it was like, she was back there taking notes. And I was like, what's up? I was happy and ashamed because I'm like, why are you taking notes from somebody else, right? Like, but I learned so much more about the credit side, like the credit cards and all that good stuff. And it was like, I was like, damn, you getting all this? Because being around, I see people that pay $50,000 for courses, right? 1 week courses, and they're only getting some of that stuff. So I was just like, man, this cheap. It's cheap as hell.
Oh yeah.
Y'all actually show them around the city the day before, right?
2 days.
Yeah, both days. Thursday, Friday and Saturday.
Okay.
Yeah. Thursday meet and greet. They still get to see certain things. Friday, the actual tour starts on the east side of Detroit. We cover as much territory as possible on the east side, the good, the bad, the medium, the ugly. And then we do it on Saturday. We start off in the morning and we hit all day. So I enjoy it. I mean, I definitely turned into a host, driving and talking and going and answering questions and turning and getting out and definitely I look forward to it every year. Every year I do.
It's dope. Like I enjoy it. Like I'm the type of person, I have a bright idea, like we about to try this shit, and it worked. Like so, this the 4th time, so it's pretty cool. But I love it. I tell people like, you don't have to go see a city to invest in it, but I think Detroit you do because we're a unique city. Like I tell people all the time, like you can be in Rosedale Park, like oh my god, it's so beautiful. Then you make a right turn, somewhere up on Finkel or something like that, and you like, oh, I'm running all these lights and all these stuff. But that's how Detroit is. And like you brought up earlier, Reg, about the 4203. Like if you don't come drive over there, you're not gonna know that all of this is not great, and that you shouldn't be on this side of Woodward or this side of 7 Mile or something like that. You need to be on this side.
Yeah, it helps people understand the values, because that's a lot of questions I get. It's like, I don't understand how the values are so skewed. And when you come to the tour and you see, but now I get it. Like she said, 0.5 miles away or less, it's a totally different ecosystem.
2 blocks. Especially before they put the street lights back up in the city, I was running hella red lights in certain neighborhoods. Like, I'm not stopping. I'm gonna do that. What is it? The
rolling stop.
The rolling stop. Make sure I look both ways. I'm coming. All right. Pew.
So I would say this too. Like some of the coaching programs and stuff, those be out of towners. They come to Detroit, but it's funny. All these Detroiters go to those seminars, but y'all Detroiters and all the out of towners coming here for y'all. So that kind of tripped me out, because when those other seminars come into town, they're teaching them some stuff, but they don't know nothing about Detroit. And our own people are going out and paying, like I said, it'd be like $1,000 entry fee, then it'd be like $40,000 for the mastermind and course and coaching.
And that's all financed through that company.
Detroit, we not cookie cutter. Like, you can't do what you do in other cities here. Detroit is unique. Like, we got some of the most brick houses. We got some beautiful houses, bungalows. Like, one thing I noticed when we started really traveling to these other cities is what you get in Detroit, you're not gonna get in New York. We got yards.
Right.
Like, my mama house sit on 2 parcels, dog. Like, we got yardage. You got a big ass front yard and a big ass backyard.
Unless you upstate New York.
Yeah, and then you got space in between the houses. Like in Chicago, I'm like, I can reach out and touch these niggas next to me. Like, I don't like that. Like Detroiters, we are private people. We like our own stuff. Like, why you blocking my driveway? We like that. Like, and we went to these other cities. I'm like, y'all pay $400,000 for this. Do you know I could have bought a 50-unit apartment building? Depending on what year we in.
It's something that stick out in my mind. It's I watched some battle rap. So it was like Calico and this guy Murder Mook was in Detroit. And I think they was trying to compare hoods, like what's hood. And all Murder Mook kept saying was like, but this is a whole house. Like he kept trying to make it like this is a whole house, because he was explaining we're packed on top of each other, right? But he was like, this is a whole house. And I'm like, damn, he right. You know what I'm saying? Like, we got all these neighborhoods with yards. The house is $40,000, but you get a whole house.
Yep.
Right. So that just stuck out with me.
You get a 3-bedroom, 1-bath house, 2-car garage if you're lucky, or 1, and you got a big dumbass wraparound driveway. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we have space. Like, you can have the family reunion at your house in Detroit.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, you can, and people do that.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I have to make my transition out of here.
Yeah,
all right.
Fun tonight, as usual.
Yeah, we'll be back
out in the streets.
For sure. We'll be back next month, June 18th. I think that's Emma talking about title, which is right before the mastermind. So that's perfect. Yep. All right. Well, thank you, Reg and Marcus, for joining as always. Thank you, Reg, for joining as well. Well, we might have to have you on next month too. This is dope.
Yeah, anytime.
All right. Well, thank y'all.
Have a good one.
All right. Bye.